Yes, we need. I've got to find that romper room song so we can play it while we're doing
You are
this.
so funny. Hello, Gail
I love that
Hello,
idea.
and
hello,
Robbin
hello.
and
Oh,
June.
look, Smith, I see you down there. How cool to see you after just meeting you. I like people who listen to what we say. I'm like, we've got a great hang. Come on it. Come through Somerset. You still missed my concert, so
Okay, I
anyway.
know I'm gonna pay
Yeah.
for that
And
forever.
and we mute. We don't let y'all talk, so mute yourself. There you go.
No, but I would like her to say her name for me. Can you say your
Okay.
name for me?
Yes, sorry, I was waiting for Miss Robin to authorize my speech. Elizabeth, yes, it's
Oh,
spelled.
it's okay. It's a
Yes,
fancy Elizabeth.
yes.
You know
That's
what's
a nice.
funny,
Beautiful.
Elizabeth? That's what I thought her, like I met her and she said her name, but when that came up, I was like,
It's beautiful.
it is really beautiful.
Hmm.
But boy,
So, so
you'd be right
Elizabeth,
there.
my maiden name was Smith, and I didn't get married until I was 38 years old. And my friends, I was pretty established in Richmond. They were all they're like, "You're going to take your husband's name." His last name is D'Arville, but you have to know my first name was Mary Jane. I mean, it's two words, Mary Jane Smith. I met at least five people in my life that said to me, "Oh, I know a Mary Jane Smith." So I very happily took D'Arville with two apostrophes and a capital. Much more exciting than Smith. Hi, Lisa. So Robin and I beforehand, we usually get together and talk about, well, what are we going to do pre-hang? And Robin goes, it's ask us anything so we can talk about it.
That's right. We could talk about anything.
We can
And
talk
I'm
about the fact that Robin right now is under a tornado watch. Hey, so is Miranda probably. Are
Miranda, are
you?
you too? You're not in the
Critical
basement.
warning.
They told us to get in the basement. Imminent threat. So you'll see two of us going up in the sky.
I'm in the basement. I'm in the basement.
You're in the basement? Oh, she's so obedient. If I was in the basement, y'all would be like, where's the killer? My husband's yelling something from even further up the stairs.
I'd like to know if you can go in the chat or react or whatever. How many of you were at Somerset? How many of you
Ooh,
had a chance to go to Somerset? Yay, there's Miranda and
Linda was there.
I'm missing some pages. There we
Yes,
are.
Miranda Elizabeth, I met her there, so that's why I'm so excited to see her there. And I tell you what, coming off of a festival, it's like, because y'all know how it is. You go down, you don't think anything else, you don't hear anything else. And it takes a couple of days to get your feet back and realize, oh, I'm supposed to like, look through the mail and pay some bills and like and do something. You're just still on such a high of, can't we just all play the harp? Isn't that all we're supposed to do our entire life? And so,
Wouldn't that be
Original's a
lovely?
rock star. She tuned for me. Yay, thank you.
Mm.
I've decided tuning is just too much.
Robin, that's a very bad influence. Hey, you know what? We've never had a hang on. We've never had a hang on tuning. I guess that's because most of us hate it, but a lot of people have questions about that, about tuning and how to tune your harp. And hi, Cindy, and why to do it in flats. I keep it waiting for your picture to wave back. There you are.
Ah, there we go. We want to have some waves. And Marinda and Cindy are both back from their beautiful, meditative, contemplative, beautiful music that they did in France. So, I mean, we have
In
people just,
France?
and they were in France. Yes.
Oh, wonderful. What
Yes.
tell us about that, Cindy? What were you?
Can you hear me okay?
I can.
Okay, good. We did a kind of a harp retreat for harp and worship. We're trying to that kind of the head of the committee that organizes it invited several guests, and Megan Matheny was so sweet in
Ah,
organizing it because she lives in Cabrice, France. So we went to France. We played in churches. We visited Cannes. We visited Nice. I mean, we just had a lovely time and did a lot of you know talking and running through things for the next conference. And it was just a beautiful, beautiful time. It was so beautiful. Yeah.
it's wonderful. Did you
Yeah.
know each other before you did that, Cindy?
Yes, the board of directors is, you know, they've been organizing. I've been on the board, on and off the board, but they've been organizing the Harp and Worship Conference for several years. So I knew everybody, and we all knew each other, and it was just so much fun. Oh, just beautiful.
I'm
Yeah.
telling you,
How's your
everybody.
yeah? How's your summer been, guys? Pretty good.
Well,
It is.
Christina's been being the new owner of 3 harp stores. She's pretty much been sitting around twiddling her thumbs, would you say, Christina?
Right,
Yeah.
right.
Absolutely nothing. Certainly not putting thousands of miles on my vehicle all summer.
Oh,
And
Driving
where are you
everywhere.
at right now, Kristina? Where are
I mean,
you?
I'm in Los Angeles right now. I'm at the airport. I'm flying back to Atlanta today.
oh my
So
gosh.
In
busy,
fact,
Gosh,
she
busy.
may be boarding the plane as we do our hang today.
absolutely.
But she will
Yeah.
be in Toronto. For those of you that
Yes.
are going to Toronto,
Please come say hi. My husband and I
Yeah.
will be there the entire week.
Where's Team
Nice.
Toronto? Wave your hand. I know Miranda's going to be presenting in Toronto. I know Christina's there. I saw someone else on here who's going to be in Toronto.
Robin, you
I
will
can't
be
see.
there.
Oh, that's right. I better
Oh
pack.
yeah.
I think I won't pack. I think I'll just take whatever I have and just that's it. It can go. But you guys, I hope that you start just, keep looking and keep being like watching for different harp festivals and harp things happening. Sometimes they're closer than you think. And that is really, I mean, most of the people I know, I always thought that when you got older, like you had no more besties. You did not make best friends after 40. Like, who does that? You have best friends, those school friends, those ride or die. But I will tell you, I have met so many people who have become literally those people in my life. And it's just really, really wonderful. It really is. So don't give up.
Robin, I
Say hi to
lost you.
somebody. Somebody lost me? Edward says, hi everyone. I wish I could have gone to Somerset this year, but maybe next year or the following. We say next year. Tammy says, harp friends are the best friends, and that is absolutely the truth. We love that part.
So as we're getting closer now, we have a very kind of laid back trivial questions today. I was going to say Trivial Pursuit. Remember, those of you that when we get the first correct answer, you receive your official Hang with the Harp mug. Kristina has the next best thing. She has to go Starbucks at the airport there. So our question is, since you're asking us anything, we want to ask you something. It's Kristina, Robbin, and I, and we're going to give you the name of 3 composers, and you have to match who we have said is our favorite composer to our names. And it can either be, we decided it can either be a harp composer or somebody who's been transcribed for the harp, whose music has been transcribed. So it's Kristina, Robbin, and myself, and the 3 composers are, this is obviously hit or miss question, but real trivia here. The 3 composers are Salcedo, Tournier, and Bach. So if you want to put that in the chat, it's 4 o'clock. We're going to get started. And as always, we have a lot to talk about. And when Robbin and I were talking about this, getting it all organized, Robbin got very excited because, Robbin,
I got really excited. Oh, that was my cue
that
because
was your cue.
as we were looking at the questions that were coming in, I was going into our archives and into Atlanta Harp Center, and I was like, well, wait a minute. There was a hang on that. Wait a minute. There was a hang on that. I always tell y'all that we, work what? Smarter, not harder. Like, why am I going to look up all the answers if we've already done something? Now, we are going to tell you our personal answers and opinions, but we are going to be asking Katie to put the PDFs up for you guys of previous hangs. Now, some of the hangs you can no longer get maybe the video for, but the handouts are there. I tell you, I would go to Atlanta Harp Center, Hanging with the Harp, and scroll down. I personally found some things in where it says click here for the PDF. I found some things that I'm not sure are supposed to be there to be clickable, and they were. So I think you should go there quick before somebody else looks. There's some real treasures there, but you got to go all the way back to when we began, all the way back to 2020. And so remember, guys, you're supposed to be putting each of us and which one is R. So we have MJ, KF, and RC. So do it that way. But so far, you guys are. Don't go to Atlantic City.
I hope I didn't make a mistake on the composers, because I see somebody said Grangeni. Not that he didn't write beautiful music, but I hopefully I said Salcedo, Bach, and Tournier. Did I say that? Okay, I just want to make sure. Yeah, and of course we were kind of walking down memory lane, realizing how long Hanging with the Harp has been on. And I think you both know, after COVID was over, I tried to shut it down and Robbin wouldn't let me. So
I was like,
while
come on. Do you know how much work I'm getting from being a TV star? Come on now. But
we're going to
listen,
get started.
yeah,
I'm sorry.
start with Kristina before they say hoarding.
Yeah, Kristina, we're going to have her answer the first question. The first question was just how important is it for me to learn theory? So if you can address that.
Yeah, of course. No, I'm happy to. I think it's a really important question and one that has a lot of different answers that are kind of individual for every person. I'm someone that went through 10 years of music college programs. So I've got a lot of theory background and a lot of theory knowledge somewhere in my brain. I think a lot of it kind of leaked out after I left school. But I think that there's a base floor, like a basement floor, that we kind of need to have, a foundation that we all need to have built, that is the most simplistic level of our music theory. We don't need to all understand what a Neapolitan chord is and how to do all of the complicated things that we can do in music theory. But if you have a basic understanding of chord names, inversions of chords, scales, the basics. You don't even need to know majors and minors necessarily on harp. I mean, it's helpful, especially if you're using a lever harp. I tend to not think about it so much because I play pedal harp. It's very set it and forget it. But in general, I think that that basement floor knowledge of theory is so important to what we do. What we do is so pattern based and so shape based when we are grabbing notes on our instrument. If you can look at a piece of music and say, oh, well, that's just a root position E chord, or these 5 measures are just an exploration of a G triad, it just in different inversions, it's going to make that music so much easier to read. It's like, I ask my students all the time, and Robbin can say that I do this. Sometimes when we're in lessons, I'll ask my students to describe to me what is happening in the music. Can you say in words what's happening in your music? And if the answer is no, that's an invitation to kind of explore more. What more can you learn about your music by diving a little deeper into the theory, just the basics? It's going to help you understand what you're doing better. It's going to make reading the music easier and playing the music easier at the end of the day. So I think it's so important. And you can get that kind of basic theory knowledge from like a beginning piano theory book, those kinds of theory workbooks that they have at music stores, to get your basic knowledge, I think is really important. Anything to add to that, Robin or MJ?
Yeah, can I say also that literally go to the internet.
Mm.
Anybody who buys music off of musicnotes.com, if you go down to the blogs, they have how to read music, how to learn music with some great pictures. If you're a little more advanced, you got to get Cindy Hortzman Jazz Workbook
Hmm?
Theory. She's got a theory book. See, I remember Cindy Hortzman, wave your hand there. She's got a jazz theory book that's really great. And so if you're interested in that type of thing, you can look all the way. But first and foremost, go to your internet and type free music theory lessons. Like I
And
said,
apps.
musicnotes.com has it, and just start there because sometimes we buy a lot of books, don't we, y'all, and they're collecting dust. See? Saving
I
your
would
money.
like to say, you can tell that Kristina is a wonderful teacher because of the way she said, this is an invitation to explore more, as opposed to those of us who would say, you need to learn this. So clearly that says something about what a wonderful teacher she is. And I do want to point out that, as we spoke about, when we can correlate this to a previous hang, we have the PDF, which we just put in to the chat. So now we have a special guest,
Alumni.
An alumni, right? The former owner of the Virginia Harp Center and Atlanta Harp Centers, my husband, David, and we got a couple of harps questions that I thought he
Hey,
would.
Peter.
He wanted to say hi.
Nice seeing Peter, another alumni. there.
That's right, another alumni. So one of the questions that they get a lot at the harp store is, why are harps so expensive? Why do they cost, well, not anymore, but they used to cost, they're comparable to a car. So
Well, they are expensive, and they're not going down in price. But a couple of the things that that you have to remember with a harp, even versus like a car, an automobile, is the harps will take 3 to 6 months to make. There's so much handwork done still on harps. As there's not a bunch of robotics, at the Line and Healy or Camac factories. It's handwork, and you've got hundreds of hours of that. The gilding's the same thing. They, going all the way back to where they're just drying woods. It's, they'll dry the soundboard woods for sometimes over years of doing that and picking out the right woods to make one, make a harp. Lever harps are obviously a little easier than the pedal harps, but pedal harps have over 2,000 moving parts, and that's a lot of pieces to put together. And I think I remember when we were speaking with Natalie from Line and Healy once that she had found out that most automobiles are made in 3 weeks, from start to finish, whereas harps, it's 4 to 6 months. And so it's just a lot of labor intensive. That's what, we would always try to tell people. And of course they still, want to get the best deal as possible, like we do on everything. But that's the main reason. It's just so much labor intensive and, involved in building a harp.
And I remember when we visited Camac factory once, and if you're ever in France, you gotta look them up. They were talking about specific forests with specific woods for specific harps. So it's pretty mind-blowing, right, Kristina?
It's the same forest they've been harvesting out of for 7 generations, is what Jacques has told me. It's
Wow.
crazy. And same family that they've been working with for the last 60 years.
Crazy.
Yeah, it's quite a process. Fascinating, really.
And the other question that he is going to address, because Amy and the Virginia crew just got back from Somerset, and as he was getting ready to leave today, David asked, "Hey, what kind of questions did you get at Somerset?"
Yeah, and Amy and Kayla and everybody said the one question is, why are harps so darn heavy? I think the age, their age at the Somerset was a little skewed older crowd, and people have been playing big harps for years, and as we age out, it's like, gosh, can't there be lighter weight harps? I know Dusty has addressed it with going with a little bit smaller models and different cuts of the wood. Camac has with using, a lot of the companies are using different materials like carbon fiber on, a few select models. Camac has the Ulysses, it's carbon fiber, and the DHC harps. There's, there's the all carbon fiber harp. We don't make it, but Dave Hartland, from Hartland Harps, everybody probably knows him, and we has those lightweight harps. The Ulysses from Camac now, I think it's about 17, 18 pounds, if I'm not mistaken. So that's
11.
their lightest. 11. Oh.
Yeah, I can pick it
Oh,
up.
well, maybe they have it marked with the cover.
That could be. And Tammy Lee apparently just picked up a new triplet harp that weighs 4.5 pounds. How many strings does it have? 4? No, I'm kidding. But let us know in the chat how many strings it has.
Yeah, I'm not familiar with that, but maybe triplets using new materials as well.
That's right.
So yeah, yeah, it's just everybody wants a lighter weight harp, but they want it to sound as good as the heavy harp, and that's the magic sauce, I think, trying to get that to work. So.
All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah.
You're welcome to stay.
See you, Peter.
And so with that, with him talking about the heavy harps, and I know because thanks to the different donations for all the students that we provide harps for that come through, when Somerset comes around, I grab the harps from all the students and I bring them down to Somerset. But what I can't bring down is what you really would need, and I want all of you to start making sure you've got yourself a good harp cart. That bag that you're putting on your shoulders, that was for 20 years ago. Like now, you need to look and get yourself a good cart. You have a good cart, and yes, some of the carts are cumbersome to take and put, it's like just another thing to bring, but it is life changing to look at all the ways you can accommodate, our beautiful aging harp bodies so that you'll still be able to do these things. Because I saw some people carrying harps that I was just like, woof, woof. So harp carts, MJ.
And Robin, I'm going to have you keep talking because the next question came from Ken, our regular. Hello, Ken. And Ken was asking, what are the basic considerations when modifying a piano score for lever or pedal harp? And I think we also have a couple of PDFs for that, but Robin's going to address that kind of generally there.
Okay, and here's the thing, and anybody that knows me knows that one of my biggest thrills is buying music. I could be kind of called a music purchaser hoarder because I grew up like that. Every month I'd buy 3 pieces unseen. So I grew up just supporting harp composers and arrangers. But when you're talking about now going from piano music to harp, a funny thing will happen when you look up a piano song you might want to learn, and you've seen it as a harp arrangement, and you look at it, you're like, well, wait a minute. The only thing that's different is one has a fifth finger and one doesn't. Like, come on. So listen, here's the thing. Piano music, sit at the harp, play it. For the most part, especially if you're talking about folk songs and spiritual songs, church songs and all that, they're really pretty user-friendly. They're pretty, you can just play it as it is. Oh my gosh, the key signature is D flat major. Guys, if you're on lever harps, you don't want it in D flat, play it in D major. Like there's so many things you can do, just like Kristina said, without going and taking a whole music theory course. I would submit to you, though, that knowing your 1-4-5, knowing your chords, so picking up maybe an Angie Bemis lead sheet basics book where she talks about lead sheets, but one of the biggest things she does is she gives left-hand patterns, which Rhett Barnwell also does and uses, and that's one of the PDFs we've included. So you can start looking at these piano parts. I would start with folk songs and hymns if you want to just put your hand on it and start seeing before you look at it and go, sit at the harp and play it. As you're playing it, you can circle like, ooh, that doesn't work. Oh, that doesn't work. And then you can go back to those parts and look at what you would do. I think you're going to find that it's not as daunting as it seems. Myself personally, if there was a piano song that I found that I really liked, my first thing I would do is I would type the name of the song and say PDF harp because I like to see what somebody else does. I like to save my work for the learning of it. But really and truly, the intricacies of how to do it and how to pick a piece, if you don't want to move a lot of levers or pedals, don't pick the piece that has a lot of accidentals. Start with something without that kind of thing. But really, take what it is you want, sit and play it. If it's a bust, have your teacher play it. Like, start looking at it that way. I think that might be the easiest approach. And just go for it. Play it. And stop writing in all those sharps and lever moves. Just do it. If it says sharp, it's sharp. I'm sorry. I'm not. Everybody hates when they get my music to read because my piano scores, I don't write anything because I'm a little lazy. But, if you see it, do it. Start trying to do it rather than just being like, oh my, this is impossible. It's not. And learn your chords. MJ,
I think that,
MJ's
I think it's really important that when you give it a go, it really isn't as complicated as it may seem. I don't care what level that you're at. I am very different from Robin. Robin can do anything off the cuff. She can sight read anything. So I always have whiteout. I like to, if it's something that I need and I want to change it, I can't have it in the music or I will do it, if that makes sense. So if you're going to do this and you're like me, have a bottle of whiteout ready. Okay. All right. So the next question was about etude books, and interesting because what's the difference between exercise and etude? And Anne Sullivan did a whole thing on this. I mean, that's fine. As I said, we've been doing this for so many years. We don't you remember? I didn't, but I looked it up and then I remembered Anne, who's expert at just about everything, it seems. And she describes the difference between an exercise and an etude as a link between the exercise. The etude is a link between the exercises, drills, and the music we play. So the exercise drills basically, or exercises are basically drills that focus on technical challenges, scales, arpeggios, crossing under, with many repetitions, and frankly, are usually a little boring. No, I shouldn't say boring, because, you know, my students will shoot me, because I always say to them, there's plenty to think about. And that's sort of the point, actually, of a dull, boring exercise, because then you can really focus on your sound and your position. If it's exciting, sometimes you get into the music, or you're just trying to make it work. But if you're just playing a scale and working on your, you know, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 3, 2, 1, 4. If you haven't tried that, do that one back and forth. You can really think about every note, every sound, relaxing between your fingers. So exercises have a really important part in technical technique and learning technique. Etudes are kind of the frosting on the cake. They usually focus on 1 or 2 technical challenges, but they do it within a musical context. So I'm going to kind of pair an exercise with a sort of a contrasting etude at a few different levels. So for beginners, I start my students, no matter how old they are, how much theory they've had. We do a lot of chords and inversions, triads and inversions right away for many, many reasons. I could go on all day about that, but Robbin is in charge of the hook and she would take me away. But as my students are learning arpeggios and chords, you know, they have the basic arpeggio exercises. And I believe in having exercises that aren't on paper sometimes too. You just make them up as you go along, something that works for that student. But a good thing to pair with that is I Hear a Harp. Is anybody familiar with that lovely little gem? And you use that kind of as the etude, learning chords. That pairs really well. Intermediate, I thought about, Kristina thought about this actually, the Bach Grangeni etudes. The first one, for example, Presto, deals a lot with the crossing under of chords, crossing under of scales, and you can get, you know, you can practice that. I have a whole thing away from the music with that. But then if you want it in context, it's a beautiful etude, written for violin, transcribed for the harp. And then advanced, those of you that have studied these, Salzato's 5 poetical studies. I know, Kristina, if you've done them, they're very challenging, right? There's a Suzuki.
They're so hard. They're so
challenging.
hard.
They're
Yeah.
challenging.
And
So,
they're not super rewarding also.
I know, but Mirage is really nice. I hear
it is. You're right. You're right.
Musically, it's not like you're done and you think that's the most beautiful thing I've ever played. But the one that I'm going to use for an example is the second one in the poetical studies. And he puts at the beginning, on arpeggios, and it's called Mirage. But the idea here is that you can see the difference between the etude and the exercise. And, you know, there's so many books out there and every student is different. You know, some of the major ones, Pizzoli, Boscia, we all know these, Grossi, all titles that people use. Maybe a little earlier on, you've got the Deborah Frio books. They are lovely. I think one of my favorite etudes in her book, of course, Kristina, is Elegy in the Deborah Frio book. So that's the difference. And I think the same question, like recommend, which one do you recommend? That depends. What's the student? What do they need? What are their strengths? What do they need to be kind of, what do they need to, what did Kristina say? What do they need an invitation to explore? I'm going to remember that.
No, so, you know, and it's interesting because Lauren Scott also has a new etude book out. If you're looking at etude book, she has a new one out. And there's something, sometimes, you know, some of us older harpists, you know, like we're like, why are we breaking the, you know, I have a good book, that's it, that's all I'm using. And that's fine. But for some of you newer harpists or just coming into it, looking at the books like Lauren Scott's etudes, what happens is the type of writing and the type of music that they're writing it starts to be more in tune to what's going on like now, like a little more modern. The notes are a little bigger. When I show my students the music we learned from, they're like, I can't see that. They hate it. And God forbid you give them a manuscript. So you can keep looking and keep updating yourself with these things. And there are PDFs in now about it. And the thing that Ann Sullivan said that just changed my mind about etudes forever is when she said the exercises and etudes are tools so that when you go to learn the piece, you're going fully equipped. Like you're not sitting down and learning a new piece and getting to a spot that you're like, how do I do that? Well, you already know because in your etudes you were practicing 4-2-3-1, 4-2-3-1. It's like, that skill, you're all ready to meet the music. And for the first time, it clicked to me that, okay, I guess I'll do the exercise because that made sense to me. Coming to a new piece prepared instead of learning a new technique on a new piece at the same time.
And there are so many, I did just kind of give you the war horses. There are so many wonderful new creative exercise books out there. Unfortunately, a lot of my music right now is in storage because I'm in transit and flex. So there's somebody who did one on Chopin. If you know of any and you want to put them in the chat, there are some really lovely new etude books out that are very beautiful and creative. As I said, I went to look for them and I remembered they're actually in storage, but yeah, they're out there for sure. So the next,
Kim, would you put in the chat if you remember? I know he has an exercise book that is like 500 ways to play Pachelbel's canon, and so some of us really love the canon. So, put that in the chat. And before we go to our next question, MJ, there is a question in the chat, and since this is Ask Me Anything, we can't run out of time if something's here. So someone says, Edward, wave your hands, Edward. I've had my Dusty Strings 34 for 2 years. I travel to the beach and sound events. I transport the harp backseat of the car, easy peasy. If I had to fly somewhere, would I be able to take my Dusty String harp with me? Go. Answers.
That would be a David question. Hey, Frankie, can you, how easy it to fly with a Dusty Strings?
34. I think that's what the travel case fits, is the 34, because it doesn't fit the 36.
Well, Edward, it definitely can be done because I played, and a lot of us had played over at some point in Europe. I played for 2 summers, and I had a Lion & Healy 23 at the time, and I had to put it in a crate, but it definitely made it over there. So what would you say if somebody wants to fly a Dusty Strings 34? Is it possible to do it in the case, or do they need a special?
Yeah, no, you'd want to get a flight case of some sort. You wouldn't want to just use the padded case because unless you could buy an extra seat for it and it would ride next to you, you might check that out, depending on the size.
And can we unmute Paula? Paula has something to say. And with that, I would also say, Edward, with the harp communities that we are building all over the world, I would first try to find somebody where I'm going to use this. But Paula, and maybe she's fake.
That's a good point.
Paula has flown many times. There she is, Paula.
Hi, you guys. Yeah,
Hey.
I feel uniquely qualified, perhaps, to talk about this particular topic.
Well, you got 2 seconds, Paula.
Okay, well, the rules have changed a lot. If you have a Dusty Strings 34, in the olden days, you could book a bulkhead seat for your instrument, and you could pay for the seat. Now the airlines are really cagey about guaranteeing you that bulkhead row. The harp will not fit in a regular row because it just needs that floor space and to be able to recline, and you can't put it up. So it has to be in a bulkhead row. So it's virtually impossible now to do that because they will not guarantee you, even if you specify that you need this bulkhead seat, they won't let you absolutely get it. So the solution is to get a hard flight case for your harp and fly it as oversized baggage. This
And Nancy
is pricey.
Nancy's definitely agreeing with you, right? If you look in the chat, she flew with 2 soft cases and broke her harp. It must be in as Paula was saying, a crate or a hard case. And I think Robbin made a great point. It's probably easier and maybe cheaper, even if you have to rent it from somebody on the other end. So it's always good to check.
I definitely would do that if you can, and just avoid putting your harp through that, because I've had many colleagues with other instruments that they fly with that have been skewered by forklifts or dumped and crushed. And yeah, don't fly with your harp unless you absolutely must, is my advice. And if you must, get a flight case, a hard case, and be prepared to pay the oversized baggage fee, which ain't cheap. Probably minimum $600 round trip.
And
Thank
let's
you
face
so
it,
much,
this,
Paula.
I
Huh,
was
there
just
you
going to
go.
say that the seats are so small, you probably couldn't get your 23 string harp in them these
Wow.
days.
So just, plan ahead. I mean, the harp community is really big and really small, both at the same time. I don't take anything anywhere, and somebody just give me wood strings, I'll play it. Just, I don't take harps when I fly. I just, it's hard enough trying to take your toiletries and know that it's 3 ounces. Okay, MJ, what's next?
I think it's 4 actually, but
Oh.
so this is actually something we threw in there because we were thinking, what's essential for every harpist? Like, what is something that will just help everybody, regardless of where they live and what their level is? And we'll probably all kind of pitch in for this, but I feel like it's really important to have a community of some time, even if it's some kind, even if it's online. And during COVID, we saw not just us, we're a community, but we saw people springing up all over the place, finding Zoom communities to play for each other. And that give each other opportunities just to talk about harps. And I remember I had a student, Kristina, right, who lived, way, way out in the middle of nowhere. And that the fact that COVID was actually kind of advantageous for her in this respect for finding community. And it may have been for some of you as well that don't have a teacher with a big studio or don't live in a city where there's a lot of harpists. So that was my first thing about what's an essential thing to have. Kristina, is it a good time for you to talk or do you want to wait? No, okay, she can't. She's getting on the plane. All right, so Robbin, it's all
Okay,
you.
so for me, two things. One is I would really, really love it if all of you would pick one thing. One thing that you're either going to learn or one thing that you're going to finish. And I mean, really, really pick it. I am blessed to be able to travel all over the place, and I see y'all. I see y'all in person. And it's been years now that I've been doing this. And I promise you, half of you still sound the same as 30 years ago. You're still working through the same piece. You're still asking me the same question. I don't want to get fired from my job, but come on. Let's take this like it's summer. We're still in summer. Pick just one thing. I think what happens is we have so many things we want to do in our head that we don't focus on that one commitment. Holidays, Thanksgiving, Halloween, holidays are coming. So if you play any type of holiday music, get that one thing out. So that, and then also, just like you're here supporting, I would really love to see you guys starting to support anything locally that you can. And locally is whatever you deem it to be. How far would you travel for a harp event? 2, 3 hours, 1 hour. But a lot of you see things coming and you're like, not doing that, not doing that. And then you're like, why, there's no harp community. Yeah, you have to support your harp chapter. Do you belong to our harp chapter? They are there. They are there, and it doesn't have to be a big deal. Like, well, I'll join. This is when you'll join. You'll join when it's time for a conference you want to go to, or when it's a competition and they're giving away prizes. Join now. Support now. Y'all are doing this here for us. Y'all don't have to come every third Tuesday and see us. Hi, Peter. Hi, Maureen. We've got Somerset in the house. You don't have to do this, but when you do this, it supports us in terms of we're like, okay, we'll keep doing it. So, like, just get out your houses or out whatever. Oh, and she's sitting on a plane. She might be able to say one thing. Go, Kristina.
I think honestly, it's my biggest piece of advice is to cultivate a sense of curiosity and self acceptance in your playing. So when you're practicing and you come across a problem and you can't figure it out on your own, or you're just struggling, like try things that are outside of the box. Try things that you might think are wrong. If you have a teacher, you can go to them, but like chances are like changing a fingering might fix your whole problem. Don't be afraid to try something and be curious about what you're doing behind the harp just because you think you might not be following the rule. There are a few rules in quotations, but really there's not much that you can do you're not gonna mess up your instrument. You're not gonna do something that's the whole harp community is gonna shun you for. Just cultivate a sense of curiosity and a joy around the idea of making mistakes. A mistake is just an opportunity to grow and to learn something new about yourself and your playing. So, yeah.
I love that, especially I started harp very late, and I had wonderful teachers. I had the joy of studying with Miss Shalafu. And so when I was out on my own, I did everything I was told. And it wasn't until I was teaching that I realized that everything I was told didn't always work for me. That's not reflecting on my teachers, but I would get to a point, and I think Lynn Asmus, a wonderful, wonderful teacher, really helped me with this. Like I would stumble over the same thing, and she said, "Why don't you try something different there?" And I can do that. And I mean, I was in my 40s, right? So, oh, I don't know if you heard that. Now we've got this storm behind us here. So I think that's really wonderful advice. I'm always amazed at the wisdom that comes out of this you're still young to me, Kristina. So, and I had to laugh when Robbin was talking, because Robbin, as you know, I don't know what that is. Maybe that's an alarm, is one of the most beloved teachers in the country. We all know that. But I love her style. There is Kristina telling us the invitation to explore more. And there's Robbin saying, just get in there and start, so
Pull those strings.
That's true. And that's what I
making it
tell
too
everybody
serious.
when they ask me about teachers, how do I find a teacher? I never say that, oh, I'm the best teacher for you. Everybody's teaching style is different. How I teach may not work for a certain person. So that wasn't a question here, but I'm just saying, if you are looking for a teacher, explore, talk, see if you're on the same page. It's like a therapist. You're going to see them, every week, but they cost a lot less usually. Therapy, man, that's expensive. But anyway, okay.
No, it's got to match. It needs to match. And practically, as we all hopefully will continue to get older and older, if you're finding that you have aches and pains, really talk to your teacher or go online, ask people, because the way you're sitting at these harps now is so different. I was in Tennessee and I was playing a harp that's smaller than mine, and I didn't realize I was leaning over playing like this. I thought it was kind of cute. I was like, yeah, and I was playing. When I came home, it took 3 days and a bunch of acupuncture and massage and all of that to fix my back. They said, what did you do? What did you do? And then I looked at the pictures. I said, oh, I leaned over and played a harp for 4 straight days. So if you're finding any of that issue, it's not the harp. You just have to find where it is, what you have to do to sit right. So please explore that, because if you don't feel good, you won't practice.
And I'm just going to go through some of the practical essentials, and then we have one more topic to cover, and we'll try to take some questions for the essentials for harpists. Past hangs, we talked about that. You see in the chat that we have a lot of PDFs from past hangs. Harp column. Sing the praises of Harp column, just a community with it in itself and lots of information. You've got the American Harp Society with a journal. You've got the Folk Harp Society that has a journal. Harp Mastery, I've talked about, and I know a lot of you are involved in Harp Mastery. And Bulletproof Musician. We had Noah, one of my favorite musicians ever, on one time. Maybe we'll have to have him back, but it's not just for professionals. He has all sorts of advice for practicing and how to memorize, just all sorts of things. So those are sort of some of the practical parts of the essentials. I don't think anybody's gotten it right yet. Katie will certainly let us know. So we have one more thing we were going to discuss, and that is deciphering notation. That's been a question that we've gotten in the past, and we've never had a hang on deciphering different notation. I think we've focused on one or another, but what we're going to do for this is put things in the chat, a PDF with Grangeny notation, for those of you that are working on any Grangeny pieces, from his beginning pieces through the end. I guess I should back up here. There are different systems of notation sometimes. Some of it is universal. Harmonic notation is universal, but where it's put differs from Grandini to Salzedo, which drives me nuts. And Andres, of course, has his own system because it has all these beautiful, creative, technical, fun things to do. So that's in there as well. Salzedo, we didn't have a PDF for, but you'll see there's 2 books of his, The Method of the Harp in the Modern Study. And Yolanda Condonasos has a wonderful book out for composers. Let me see if I have the title here. I believe I do. And yeah.
Is it on playing the harp? On playing the harp?
No, not on playing the harp. It's Katie, do you have that title? Something composing well for the
Just
harp.
put it in the chat. It's The Composer's Guide to Writing Well for
Thank
the
you.
Modern Harp. It's the Virginia and New Jersey store has it on their website.
Okay, there you go. Also wonderful for many, many reasons. And if you're thinking of composing, that's the book to go to. It's got a little bit of everything. So that's kind of all we had to cover. We have a few more minutes here. You guys got to.
Okay, 1 second also.
Okay.
I just sat here and I was typing because I'm always doing that. And I just typed in my browser harp notation explained. And when I tell you there is so much that popped up that I want y'all to do that also. If you're a pedal harpist, decoding pedal harp notation, a guide for composers by somebody. But I mean, literally, these people go in and they're putting, you can't see it, but trust me, they're putting everything. They're putting the pedal charts. They're putting this. There's one lady who has out, if you type in special effects for pedal harps, she did her doctorate, and she's got videos that not only name it, but shows it. Go to those browsers and start typing. Okay, that's what I had to say.
All right, so Katie, I'm just curious, did anybody get the trivia question yet? For those of you that came in late, it's kind of a guess thing because it was Ask Us Anything. The trivia question was about us, and it was, there's 3 names, Robbin, myself, and Kristina, and then there were 3 composer names, and you were going to match the one of us with the composer, and the 3 composers were Salzedo, Bach, and Tournier. Oh, Peter, who is that? So cute.
Oh, Peter's little doggy. I was like, what's she talking about? I thought he answered the question. So listen, though, also, so we're going to use these last couple of minutes for you to ask your questions. So what do you have?
One thing we were, sorry, Robin, if you have any suggestions for what you would like for a hang, and before we forget, and it will be posted, we take August off now. Robin and I hang in August, but we hang together at the beach. So we're taking August off now. But if anybody has any thoughts they have about what or who they would like to have on the hang, type them in the chat, or if you have a question. Obviously, we were all over the place with these questions, but that's what this was about. So no questions.
That is
about subjects, anything that you're just curious what you'd like to learn a little bit more about, or any particular artist. I know for me this year, I really, oh my gosh, this is so embarrassing. I'm going to forget his name, and I emailed him. The Mode Man. If you did not see
Shimka?
Simka.
Yeah, check that one out. That one is still on the Atlanta website. And when I say that, you can go on Atlanta Harp Center and go into events, and it will have not all of them, but a lot of the recent ones. And we had Amy Turk last time. So much fun. She was amazing. Just really fun and made it very attainable or achievable. I actually tried some of that fun stuff after watching her. So check them out. And you can also, of course, send anything if you don't, it's very quiet out there right now. You can send it to info@Atlanta Harp Center and just let Nancy Hurl was awesome at Somerset. Noted. Tammy Lee will, and Robbin probably knows her. Do you know Nancy Hurl, Robbin?
Yes, Nancy Harvell. She's out of Boston. And if any of you are interested at all in Renaissance and old harp history, and she does all of that. She hosted a wonderful Renaissance ball where my kids got all dressed up, and if you go on Somerset Facebook, you will see them all marching in their outfits and trying to do a Renaissance dance. And then there was a big party afterwards. She's an expert in the music, in the style, and has such stories. One of my students, Maureen, who's on there hidden behind her screen, she there's about 5 of my students who are employed with Somerset. And one of my students, Quinn, who's like her right-hand man now, and she forgets sometimes that he's really mine, but he said he was moderating Nancy's class, and he was like, oh my gosh, I never knew anything about that, and she makes it so interesting. So you can look her up. She has several books out about that, and she's wonderful. She's really wonderful, and she's in Boston. And it's good to
Thank you,
see
Tammy, for
Maureen.
that suggestion, because I don't think we've had anything on Renaissance music. So that's a good thing for us to. That's a good invitation for us to explore. I'm trying to get that in my head so I remember to use it. I did love that. That was so eloquent, not elegant.
And I think sometimes what happens, because some of the people, we do have the time difference. And so some of the people are people that, it's like, woof, they're far away. And somebody says Karen in New Jersey. You're talking about Karen Peterson, maybe, who's a double. Oh, Karen Loomis. Okay. Shook their head. I can't read. But yes. So please send us all these suggestions and all these people, because especially I don't think we've done double strung harp on here. And I saw a lot of double strung people, in many ways at Somerset. So, we can to let them know about that and do things like that. Oh, I'm reading this one. Robbin, you were amazing at Somerset. Were you using a pedal page turner? And if so, which one? I couldn't see from your feet. Okay, so you guys know I'm team play with the music, because I'm team old enough that I'm never gonna memorize anything anymore. I want to memorize what I'm having for dinner with MJ next week. So I use my music. I play from an iPad, and I use the butterfly flip page turner. It's a little fat. They say butterfly because it looks like it. It's the one I use because I can feel it under my feet. It's a tad cumbersome in terms of placing, especially when I'm playing pedal harp, but that's the one that I use, and I really like it. There was somebody else there. You'll look online. The thing that we seem to come up with in my digital class was people dislike the most the ones that are thin. When they're too close to the ground and you step on them, they kind of pop up. So, and somebody says, take a look at the Stomp page turner. Somebody, that's Ken. That's my Ken. So start looking them up, but I do. I'm still, my email address is mac.com, so I'm loyal. So the butterfly flip is probably old now, but I still use that product. Did I pay these people? Look at that. Robbin played an amazing quartet for the finale with Anne-Marie, Rachel Hare, and Adriana. Robbin was playing by ear. I sure was. I sure did. I told my people that I would step out and not take the music. And I was staring at the music all until I got up on the stage. And I stood up and played, y'all. And my husband said, why were you standing up? And Anna was sitting down. He was all mad about it. He said, I look like I was about to fall over. But you have to check out some pictures of that. We played that. And the iPad stand holder that I used, I just purchased. I purchased it because when I was in Tennessee, a lady had it, and I really loved it. So MJ's going to say a couple things, and I'm going to look up what it was. And yes, you should get that. I'm going to put it in the chat. MJ.
I'm going to say a couple things that Robbin may not want to hear, because when she comes, when we're down at the beach, she's going to teach me how to put my music in my iPad. She didn't know that yet. I know I'm one of the last of the paper music people here. So those of you that are still, thank you, Lisa. I see there's more out there. I'm always worried something will happen, especially I've heard horror stories about people playing outside. Cindy, have you ever had any issue with, I know you must be a tech girl, I can tell.
Well, quite honestly, I don't, when I go to gigs and stuff, I don't bring music. I just kind of do everything from here. And one of the reasons is because of that. I don't trust the wind with real music, and I don't trust electronic things quite yet. But I know a lot of my students use them for harp ensemble, and they swear by them. And that may be a summer project for me, at least for conducting the harp ensemble. But I know that iPads are nice because you just have everything in one place as long as it's charged.
I'm just totally blown away that that you can do that by ear. I have to show you guys something. Hey, come here, Cece.
And I travel with about 10
Cece.
different chargers all over the place because I'm that girl. I'm putting in the stand that I purchased after seeing somebody in Tennessee with it, and I love
Our
it.
matching
Boom.
jackets. I just wanted to show you this, my beautiful daughter Cece. We're wearing our matching jackets.
Oh, wait,
When
that's
she was a
sweet.
baby, we bought matching stuff, and then she turned like 7 and she was like, no more. And then she saw me in this jacket and wanted it. So now we're matching.
True.
Can I get
Hi,
some more
Cece.
Fresh Farm? That's Robbin.
Hi, Robin. Hi,
It's good to see you.
everyone.
Cece has a blog, right? Still a blog. Come on, plug your daughter's blog. Put, put,
Yes,
put it in the chat what it is so people can come listen to you. She's a beautiful writer. So I don't know what else she does on it, and if it's inappropriate, blame it on MJ. But she's a beautiful writer, and that's why I go read it when stuff comes up. But put it in the chat. We're not all old and done. Okay, we have a Samsung tablet holder. A Samsung tablet, a lot cheaper than the iPad Pro. Mobile Sheet works on Androids, iOS 4 score. That's really, really good. And you know, I did learn. See, there you go, CC Substack. She's got just some beautiful stories in there. So I hope you all click on that and save that information because, you know, our world is different now. So much, you know, and these kids, they be telling it all. They be telling, you know, we grew up in the don't tell, don't talk, don't nut. They be telling it all, and it's very entertaining. So go on in
And
and
some
support her.
deep subjects there. But I thank you all for indulging me. She'll probably shoot me later. Anyway, let's see.
Kristina had
Oh, Kristina had to go, and I think it's probably about time for us to go too. So if you think of anything, as I said, that you might want to see in September, usually we do some kind of, you know, starting back up, you know, music thing in September. I don't know about you guys, but I stopped teaching in an academic situation many years ago. But my year still goes January, June, September. So I still have that calendar in my head. And if you have anything that you might, Robin, are you saying you're
well, I'm
muted?
just laughing because
Oh,
MJ, they want the answer to trivia. And I just want to say I feel personally offended. So you want to give them the answer, MJ?
absolutely. I don't think anybody got it. So missing out on the mug. Maybe
That's right.
next time. So Kristina was Tournier and Robbin was Salzedo, and I just fell in love with Bach at a much later age because there's not a lot of Bach written for the harp, but with these Grangeny etudes and with a lot of the Bach Rhett Barnwell's done a lot of really accessible things with Bach. I've come to really like Bach. So we just want to thank you all for humoring us today. We just thought this might be kind of a fun thing to do in the summer, and you've all been good sports. And that's
And so everybody, the reason you didn't put me with Salcedo is because you didn't know the younger up to 30s me, where that was almost all that I played from all of his different books and from all of his different music and all the Arizona Trails. See, you're like, ooh, yeah. See, I do have skills. They're kind of behind me, but yes, I was.
Did you see the note for Maureen? Maureen, you just got to thank you for a great Somerset. I'm sorry
Oh,
I
it's the
couldn't be
best.
there, but yes, Robin was singing your praises earlier. So good on
So
you. I
good.
know how hard that is. We did begin in the middle, and it just about killed me, but all
So
right. So
listen, y'all, don't forget suggestions, send them in, and well, wait, I did Salcedo, but I didn't study in Maine. I wasn't one of them, but anyway,
that
I
was
was
me.
Salcedo on the outskirts. That was MJ. You know, they didn't. You know,
And
Maine wasn't a thing.
as Frankie Valli would say, I won't sing it, but see you in September
Ah,
when the
see,
summer's through.
when the
All
summer's
right, take
through.
care. Take care,
Much
everybody.
love. Oh, good. We're glad it was a great session for you guys. It was
Thank
fun
you.
to
Thank
see
you
you.
so
Thank you
much.
for the support.